So you don't have any like contact with any of the other three really? And
No, I don't. It's funny because those who've gone on to do more acting probably have other things they're going to feature on their resume. And
oh,
so to be
maybe,
like,
maybe.
hey, remember me? I was on that show with you. They'll probably be like, oh, yeah, no, I don't remember. You know? So I don't know. I don't know if they get care, but maybe they would. Maybe they think it was just cool because, it was a sort of time in our life. Actually, it might be fun to like, okay, I don't know if this would be fun or if this would be a little pathetic to like go to one of those Comic Cons, as like
Oh
Drew
yeah.
and
No, I
Gordon
was gonna
Swift.
ask. Like, you've never been like approached to go to a Power Morphicon or anything like that?
No,
Because
remember, because we weren't the Power
I
Rangers. We
know,
were
but
the knockoff.
then I was
So
thinking like, would they have all the Deke shows there? Would Matthew Lawrence
yeah.
show up because he
Oh,
was
okay.
Servo?
So that reminds me, thinking of all the Geek shows. So I'm a journaler, and I thought surely I have a journal from like 1994, but I couldn't find it.
Oh,
But I found some
got
other
excited for a second.
gold that I pulled out of like musty old bins to show you guys, and I haven't gone through it, but where was this? Okay,
Oh, I saw the logo.
can you see that?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So Hollywood Reporter from let's see, 1994, October 4th, 1994, and MIPCOM was coming, and Tattoo Teens was going to be in booth 3.2. Apparently, we didn't warrant our own booth, but we could have point two of a booth. So, yeah. So I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. So I pulled that out to share with you. And then there was this thing. This I think was a publicity. So this was like a folder that would have like publicity stuff in it,
Oh, nice.
And I know. Where am I? Here I am. Look at. You see the similarity? It's just like me.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I really couldn't tell the difference.
No, of course
That one
not. Oh, do you recognize
Oh,
this
is that
our most famous guest?
Zsa Zsa Gabor? Yeah, she shows
Zsa
up in the
Zsa
show.
Gabor. I know. So, and here's a picture of all of us with Zsa Zsa. You see that?
That's
Cool.
awesome. Yes.
I just remember. So she see this dress she's wearing, and she was like spilling out of this totally tight dress. But I just remember Leslie and I were like, we hope when we are her age we can rock a dress like that, because that was, I mean, and she was just like, I don't know how old she was. She was plenty old, but she acted like she was 25. And it was right after like have you guys seen that episode, or was it not the first 21?
I
Like,
have seen the episode.
I
there's
haven't
like a
seen
glitch and she becomes the mayor of
Oh.
Beverly Hills or something.
I remember her behind a podium. I don't remember what the episode was about though.
Yeah, so she was like mayor, so it was like this alternate reality, and she was mayor of Beverly Hills, and they kind of just gave her a general thing, like they weren't going to give her a monologue to memorize, or if they did, she didn't bother. And so she just kind of ad-libbed the thing, and it was not that long. Like the most recent thing she'd been in the news for had been she like hit a police officer in Beverly Hills, or like slapped somebody. So
I
she actually
remember that.
referred to that like in the thing. She's like, oh, if they give you trouble, just slap them around a little bit. And I just remember her like, this is a kid's show. Should she be saying that?
As the mayor of Beverly Hills, I promised you we're going to slap a police a little bit around.
The kids aren't going to get it. That's for the parents.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
True.
So anyway, that was fun. She was our big celebrity. So I haven't listened to a whole lot of you guys' podcasts, but I did hear August 10th when you were saying ahead that you were going to be talking about the Geek shows coming up. And I believe what I picked up was something like, and one is pretty good and one is pretty terrible. And I'm just curious where, which fell into which camp.
In the best way possible. But I will tell you the one that I thought was, this one's like the better show, kinda, was way less fun than watching Tattoo Teenage Alien Fighters. So that it's just such a weird little time capsule of the early 90s and all the Power Rangers like copycats that are going on. And there were so
crazy.
many. And yours is the best, for sure.
I got to say, I'm not going to say I think yours is the best. From a technical perspective, it's awful. Like, let's not pretend. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you.
The
But
best,
I will
my
say this.
favorite, let's say.
I will say this. It is easily the most fun to watch.
Yes.
Yeah, like I just had so much fun. Even before I had any contact with you and knew you were coming on the show, I watched those first 10 episodes before I sent you that email. And I just loved it. I was having so much fun watching it. I got my 14-year-old son, who is the only one of my kids who's young enough to actually watch something like that with me. He's like, he doesn't understand that he's too cool for things like that yet, you know, so he'll still watch these
sweet.
shows with me. And he watched it with me and he loved it. Like, we just had a great time watching it. It's just a bucket of fun. Technically, not a good show, but so much fun. It's so much fun to watch. The first episode was The Sorcerer, right?
No, that was Robo Ninja.
Oh, that's right. It was Robo Ninja. Okay. Yeah, but in the very first episode, he's there. He's destroying buildings. He's destroying telephone poles.
He is not destroying buildings. He is destroying mountains and rocks and maybe a telephone pole.
Maybe I'm thinking of
threatening.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Sorcerer episode.
The fourth episode is the one where they switch bodies. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm just thinking of the one. There were all those round buildings, the round top buildings. You know, there's just a bunch of them. All the buildings have
that really rough cityscape,
perfectly round tops, and so whichever monster it was, they're blowing up the round top buildings and they're blowing up the telephone poles. The telephone poles always throws me for some reason. Why telephone poles? But apparently monsters love blowing up telephone poles.
It was the communication, right? Like nowadays they take down the internet, then it was the telephone poles, maybe.
That's a fair point I had not considered.
So
I have to say, you've opened my eyes on that one.
Well, thank you very much.
Do you remember the episode where you guys all switched bodies? Because
yes, who did
you switched
who was
with?
I?
You were Swinton. You were Swinton.
Oh, I was Swinton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was super fun. I enjoyed being Swinton. Like, my glasses back up and
That was entertaining watching you all kind of act as each other. I don't think Swinton ever said Hinky though. He never got to say that line.
No, and he should have. That
he
was
should
like
have.
my signature line.
That really bothered me, and I've been thinking about it all day. Because that's what I do when
when you've got nothing else to think about.
It bothered me.
I'm sorry that let you down.
But you did a good job playing him.
About our crossover episode where we had the superhuman samurai cyber squad guy come over.
Are you serious? I missed that episode too.
I haven't made it that far yet, apparently. Wow.
I haven't found it.
I do know that the guy who played Tanker, his name escapes me right now, he showed up as the fifth Sentinel.
Kevin Castro.
Thank you. He showed up as the fifth Sentinel, and you think it's going to be like a Green Ranger thing, but he's like, nope, I'm gonna steal. Was he trying to steal? Was he trying to take you with him, or was it Lori? I can't remember.
No, it was.
We had a thing. We had a little romance going on.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was trying to take me anywhere.
He was trying to convince you to go with him.
Yeah, he was trying to convince you to ditch Nimbar, like
just
head off with him into the portals around the galaxy. Yeah.
I mean, he's a good-looking guy. It would have been hard to say no. I know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But Drew was strong, and she said no.
See ya.
Yeah, she was way too cool for that kind of stuff. Yeah. She is my favorite character in the show. I really like Gordon and all his weird nonsense. Just him. He thinks he's really cool, but he would totally be the kid who got beat up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Nobody would beat up Swinton because he would help them with their homework. Gordon would get hurt a lot.
Right. That's why he always has to have money in his wallet so he can pay people up.
Good point.
Yeah.
Plus, Swinton's got that whole thing where he backed the bully down, so that has to help his school cred at some point.
Right. Yeah, Swinton was a cool guy.
Yeah.
As was Rugg, who played him.
Well, that's nice to hear. I like people that I watched when I was a kid. I'm glad to hear they're not jerks. That always makes me happy. I probably tried to play Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills. I had to say the whole name at least once. Like on the playground, and everybody's like, "What is that?"
Well, if they had to be able to like cartwheel and do those split jumps to really do it effectively.
Yeah, that was.
So maybe that was too challenging.
They were just like, "Nope, I've never heard of the show. I guess I'm just not gonna do that."
Hey, at least we filmed our own action footage, right?
Well, yeah, that's
You know?
the part of the show that actually kind of sets it apart a lot because there's no yeah.
I was wondering if they had, because it almost seems like they were trying to do a reverse Sentai there, where they were like, you know what we'll do? We'll make this show and we'll keep these two things separate, just like they do in the Sentai shows, and then we can send it over to them, and they'll be the ones who have to use our footage.
Oh, well, that would have been a good strategy, maybe. Except
Who
then
knows?
they would have looked at the footage and been like, "What?
Why would we use that?
What?
Look at what we have.
What makes you think that's better than what we have?" Good to dream big, you know.
Yeah, why not,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So, so one thing that, again, in hindsight, watching it, and probably we thought that there, like, don't you ever wonder why don't they just start with Nitron? Because
Every
you know
single time.
Because
Every single time I watch it.
Nimbar says it there. He says Nitron has limited power, so you have to use him sparingly.
right. But they go to him every time. Like
I
they're
know.
never able to like solve it without him.
Let's try Nitron again. Apollo, Taurus, Scorpio, Nitron.
My question was why. Oh, his name's escaping me. The big bad.
Gorganis.
Thank you.
Gorganis.
Man, I couldn't even.
Emperor
Why
think of it.
Gorganis didn't just throw two monsters at him, because they always barely get by defeating one monster. Why
Well,
not
see,
double up?
He was obviously not that smart.
Apparently not.
Maybe there
That was
is an
his
excuse.
downfall.
Is there an excuse somewhere where he can't send more than one because he won't be able to control them?
Possibly. Or like they had to fit on that thing, you know, he put the little model on there and then to go and then they'd send them.
He didn't
Maybe
upgrade to
only
the
one
double
fit.
yet.
That's right. There you go.
Story-wise, with just the four main actors, I'm like, wow, they're actually like doing stuff. And there's pop culture references. Never once was there
Yeah.
a pop culture reference in any Power Rangers show that I ever watched. But it's also 90s pop culture references, so I'm laughing because there's just so much weird stuff. I'm like, nobody would understand that unless they're in their 30s at least. Was there ever any merchandise for the show that you were aware of?
Funny you mention it.
Oh, cool.
Several years ago, for my birthday, a girlfriend said, "Hey, so I found this thing on eBay and I just had to get it for you." And it's a thermos. Have you seen this before?
Oh, nice.
The awesome. Look
That
at that.
is cool.
There I am.
Oh,
We've got
I
all
love
of
it.
us. Actually, look at Swinton looks pretty good. There we go.
Dang.
Yeah.
He
So I
does.
have the thermos. And then my niece found it on eBay and she's like, "Auntie Kajal, look what I found." And she got me the lunchbox.
Oh, that's
awesome.
It's
I do have a vague
you know.
memory of actually seeing that in a store once.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's fun.
But, you know,
Yeah. It would be cool to have a little doll, though. You know,
I wish.
little purple centaur. That'd be cool.
Anyways, do you have any more questions, dude? Because I'm out, I think.
I just have one. Do you have a favorite monster?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. I should have done my research on the monsters before so I could remember them all. Okay, you've been watching them, so you name them for me and spark my memory.
Oh, I'm terrible with names. I just remember shapes and faces. You know, like
Okay.
there's the brain dude, there's the
Oh, the
sorcerer,
brain dude, okay.
there's the cobra. He had a very snake related name, or she. I guess it was a mother, because there's that whole story arc about her nesting, wanting to
Ooh.
nest on Earth. There's the toxic waste monster.
Right. There's that ISIS, like ice queen kind of person, right?
Oh yes, yes,
That
yes.
her.
The ice queen. Yeah, like
I have
you
the
actually
list on
put it perfectly.
Wikipedia. I pulled it up.
Oh, okay.
So there's
Okay,
Ninja
yes.
Bot, Neregula, that's the brain monster.
Okay.
The Sorcerer, that's the one with the metal mask. Voldeck,
Oh, him. Okay.
an electrical nightlight monster that could produce static electricity.
Oh yeah. Forgot that
Slagar, the toxic waste monster, that's the one. That's the one that smells like Seattle.
Is he the one that's like all like this? Is
Yep.
that him?
Yep.
Okay, right, yeah.
Octodroid. It's an octopus-themed monster. I think I really liked that one. That one was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him, too.
Isolus, a 4-eyed female ice elemental monster.
Okay.
That's the Ice Queen.
Culebra, a cobra form monster who can breathe heat. Pretoraptor, which that's pretty obvious, a dinosaur thing. And then Snake Trooper. And
I don't think I made it to Snake Trooper.
You might have. They reuse a bunch of the monsters. That's it over the course of 40 episodes.
Right. They come back because we don't fully defeat them. Tragically.
Right.
Yeah. Favorite monster. I think I'm going to have to go with the toxic waste guy. Just because, why not? He's so nasty. Although at this point in my life, if I put thought into it, I think I'd have to go with that snake one. You said she's the mother who wanted to nest. I can probably relate to her.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But if you just go with okay, what's a funny monster? I think because I actually remember the toxic waste one, so I must have had an affinity for him somehow.
It had a unique aspect that really separated it from the rest of the monsters because he's got that the head is below his shoulders.
Yeah.
So there was a very unique aspect to that one. It was pretty gross looking too.
Yeah.
Some of the costumes were pretty cool. I like that gross garbage monster, mostly because of that Seattle joke. I just thought it was real funny. For some reason, it just made me happy. I don't know why. Because I live so close, maybe. I love this show. It's ridiculous and dumb, and it's so fun. You just gotta.
It is pretty fun, and I don't think anybody putting it together was hey, let's make something really crappy. I think it was more okay, there was probably, hey, we can make money off of something that's a Power Rangers, ripoff.
Naturally.
Yeah.
I think you kind of go, okay, well, this is what I have to work with, and this is the budget I have to work with, and, we'll do the best show we can with these constraints. At least it was, terrible with the best intent. Maybe.
Well, it's delightfully fun to watch. So whatever budgetary constraints there were, it didn't take away from the fun factor in the least. I had so much fun watching this. I am definitely going to finish watching the entire series.
Really? Because you don't have to. The interview's over.
I watched this because I enjoyed it. I was looking forward to this. When he gave me those DVDs, I was so excited, but I couldn't get my kids to watch it with me. My kids, my oldest is 21 years old and my daughter's 19, and so they're way too cool for anything like that. And then the 14-year-old, when I pitched him on it, he was like, I don't know about that. But then I was like, look, I have to watch this. You're here with me. Just sit down and give it an episode, and the next thing you know, we're powering through 3, 4, 5 of them, and he's having the time of his life. So
what was most fun for him? Seeing, aside from my stellar acting and the storyline, but I mean, was it fun because it's so now they're so spoiled with the CGI and the effects and all that kind of stuff? Is it fun to look back and go, really, that's how they did it? Or I'm just curious, what would be fun for 14-year-olds?
I'm sure there's an element of that. There's part of it is definitely looking at it and going, wow, you guys thought this was entertainment back then? But then there's also the aspect of I've raised him with a deep love of B movies and bad cinema. I love bad movies. I love schlocky cinema and TV shows and anything like that. And I've instilled that in him. Plus, of course, he has love for Godzilla. He's a huge Godzilla fan, and things like that are a very easy sell to him. And so I think it's a combination of all those things. Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills is just sort of at the perfect nexus of all those interests.
My kids are the same age, 21 and 19, and my 19-year-old would probably love your movie festival because she has a couple girlfriends, and that's one thing they do is they find just horrible movies, the cheesiest, silliest, stupidest movies, and they'll enjoy watching them. And I'm wondering if having been exposed to my show at a young age sort of planted that seed for her to have an appreciation for these things. It's nice to know, like, I'm not alone. Like, there's a lot of, former actors in this world who have done a lot of really cheesy, content.
And I appreciate them so much.
Well, see, we're glad. We're here for you.
You've brought a lot of happiness to a lot of lives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we love it.
You may not have the mainstream appeal of some, but the people who love your stuff, love it.
That's good. Well, I think it's more like love it to hate it. Although I came across something once. I was so impressed. I should have looked this up. I forgot about it till now. This was a couple years ago. I came across somebody had written like an in-depth review of Tattoo Teens, and I was just amazed. Like, I think this person put more thought into the plot analysis and the writing and the characters than like we even did while we were in the midst of filming it, and knew so much. And I've just, part of me was like, oh, go outside and, look at nature and, get some, exposed to more things. But part of me was just also really impressed that it was like, hey, it's like you find something that draws you in and you're like, all right, well, I'm all in. I'm going to analyze this thing. So There are people out there. Oh, and my daughter, a couple of years ago, suddenly I get this text and she's found fan art. So somebody did some fan art of Tattoo Teens, and I have some Drew fan art out there somewhere. It's kind of cool.
I highly recommend you go to YouTube and you just type in the name of the show. You will find 100 videos analyzing the show, and they review usually like the first episode. And there's some interesting thoughts out there.
Yeah,
it's some fun stuff.
Some of it though, like some of it when you're like in it, you're like. Like some of it's impressive, and sometimes you're like, okay, I don't need to read that because some people aren't kind. Well, anything else you guys want to know? Want to ask?
I think that might cover it.
I think we've kind of beaten a dead horse.
We did.
I'm tapped out.
I'm excited. I'm very happy that we got to do this.
I wish I had some great question that was just going to blow your mind. I even told myself, get a great question and save it for last, and nope, I just right out the gate.
Well,
fired.
You were going to ask what our favorite movie was.
Well, now we are way off.
That's the name of the game. That's the show.
Yeah, welcome to Sharks Across Hollywood. Seriously, if we ever stuck to a subject once in our lives, I think people, our two listeners, wouldn't know what to think.
This has been really fun. I've enjoyed meeting you guys a lot.
I had a great time. I'm so glad you agreed to come on the podcast. Thank you so much for doing it. You've been just a fantastic guest. I honestly can't tell you enough how grateful I am and how much I've enjoyed this.
I'm going to be fanboying out for the rest of my life, so that'll be good.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely telling everybody. At least the next month.
Yeah, I haven't told anybody yet, just in case it was like you decided last minute. It's like never mind.
Yeah.
I'm very happy you were here. This was awesome.
Well, thank you guys very much, and you guys take care.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was nothing to be nervous about. I had a lot of fun talking with those guys. I'm kind of tired of smiling now. When you've had a good time, you smile a lot, and then you're like, oh man, my cheeks are sore. I hope I was an entertaining guest. If you're a Tattoo Teens fan, thank you for watching. And if you just stuck through it to learn a little more about me, thank you for watching. So that was my walk down memory lane today. And it was fun. Andrew and Gabe, Sharks Across Hollywood, that's their podcast. Check it out. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.